You ever hear of someone who died peacefully in their sleep? Sounds lovely, doesn't it? Until you realize that's often code for their body waved a white flag while they were dreaming about soup. See, after 70, sleep becomes a game of cosmic roulette. You lie down, hoping to rest, and your heart whispers, "Let's see if we wake up today." Most folks think sleep is healing. And it can be, unless you're unknowingly doing one of the 8 things we're about to expose. We're talking about completely normal habits. Harmless stuff like checking your phone, taking a sip of water, leaving the TV on. You call it winding down. But your body calls it death prep. No, this isn't to scare you. This is to softly terrify you into enlightenment. Because let's be honest, nobody wants to be found on the bathroom floor with one slipper on and a face that says, "Oops." In this video, we'll walk through 8 bedtime behaviors that might quietly kill you, or at least fast-track your next hospital bracelet. But we won't just shout doom and gloom, we'll laugh, reflect, and offer sacred and weirdly practical advice. Because death might come in the night, but peace is something you prepare for before you put on your pajamas. Let's begin. Part 1. The Electric Ghost. Why your smartphone isn't just distracting you. It's haunting your aura. You wouldn't sleep with a chainsaw idling next to your head, right? Well, meet the modern chainsaw, your smartphone. It doesn't growl. It doesn't slice, but it hums. Pulses, flickers, and leaks just enough blue light and electromagnetic energy to rattle your nervous system like a drunk ghost in a Wi-Fi router. Now look, we're not saying your iPhone is trying to kill you, but if it were, bedtime would be the perfect time to do it. Older adults often leave their phones on the nightstand for music alarms, even companionship. But what they're really inviting to bed is a tiny glowing panic machine. That harmless screen emits blue light that tells your pineal gland party time, blocking melatonin and tricking your brain into thinking it's noon in Vegas. And then there's the invisible part, the EMF radiation. Even in standby, your device is pinging towers, seeking signals, screaming into the dark like a caffeinated toddler with no off switch. Some studies suggest long-term exposure may increase oxidative stress in the brain. Translation, your neurons age faster than your face. From a Buddhist lens, this is subtle clinging. The phone isn't just a tool, it becomes an attachment to stimulation, identity, and control. You scroll through lives while yours is literally trying to rest. You're half asleep, but your karma is still swiping. And let's not ignore the psychological damage. When that late night notification pings, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. Even if you don't check it, your system prepares for war. That's not rest, that's digital PTSD. So what's the fix? Put your phone on airplane mode, or better yet, exile it from the bedroom like the needy ex it is. Buy a $5 alarm clock. Create a ritual of disconnection. Remember, your spirit doesn't need a touchscreen, it needs silence. Because nothing disrupts your path to liberation, quite like a buzz from a group chat called Family Drama 2.0. Part 2. The Position of Death. Why the way you sleep might be the way you go. You ever notice how the dead are always lying on their backs? There's a reason for that, and if you're over 70, it's not just symbolic, it's strategic. For the undertaker. Let's talk about sleeping positions. Most people think I've always slept this way. I'm not changing now. That's adorable and slightly tragic. Because once you hit a certain age, your favorite sleep pose might be gently murdering you in your dreams. Sleeping flat on your back might feel like floating on a cloud, until your tongue slides back like a lazy couch potato and blocks your airway like a stubborn toddler in a doorway. That's sleep apnea, my friend, a charming little condition where your brain stops getting oxygen, your heart starts to panic, and your soul briefly checks Zillow for alternate housing. In seniors, especially those with heart conditions, diabetes, or high blood pressure, this lack of oxygen can trigger strokes, arrhythmias, or heart attacks. All while you're dreaming about cookies. Now let's say you're a side sleeper. Better, yes. But even that has its quirks. Sleep consistently on your right side, and your blood flow has to play American Ninja Warrior to get back to your heart. Not ideal. So what's the Buddhist take? It turns out that the Buddha himself passed away lying on his left side, a position still used in meditation and death rituals. Coincidence, maybe. Or maybe the left side allows the heart, lungs, and digestive system to work in harmony like a well-aged jazz trio. Try this sleep on your left side with a pillow between your knees. Put another pillow behind your back so you don't roll over mid-reincarnation. And if you've got reflux, elevate your upper body slightly so acid doesn't go exploring. Because sleeping should feel like a gentle letting go, not like your body's auditioning for a cardiac event. And remember, your bed should cradle your consciousness, not conspire against it. Part 3. Grudges in your pillowcase. How unprocessed resentment is killing you while you sleep. There's something heavier than your mattress lurking in your bedroom. Heavier than your body. Heavier than your regrets. It's your resentment, and it sleeps closer to you than your spouse. You think you're lying on a pillow, but you're actually face down in a simmering stew of old betrayals, half-forgiven grudges, and unfinished arguments from 1982. And while you drift off thinking about tomorrow's breakfast, your body's working overtime to process the cortisol cocktail you brewed with your bitterness. Here's the science harboring resentment keeps your nervous system stuck in fight or flight mode, even when you're asleep. That means your blood pressure rises, your immune function weakens, and your sleep quality crumbles like a 90-year-old cookie. Now pair that with aging. Your body's already slower to repair itself, slower to detox stress hormones. So what happens? Chronic inflammation, poor memory consolidation, higher risk of stroke, depression, even cardiac death by unresolved mother issues. From a Buddhist perspective, clinging to anger is like gripping a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else, but burning yourself the entire night instead. And here's the kicker. Your brain doesn't know if the grudge is current or 40 years old. It just reacts. You wake up groggy, irritable, and somehow still mad at your ex, even though he's now legally married to a recliner. So what do? Before bed, do a mental sweep. Say, I forgive you not because you deserve it, but because I'm tired and I'd like to live to 90. Journal it, pray it, whisper it into the void, but get it out of your bloodstream. Because carrying resentment to bed is like snuggling with a raccoon that bites you in your sleep. You're not just aging, you're fermenting. So lighten the load and sleep like someone who's no longer dragging a ghost into their dreams. Part 4. Water torture. When that 9 p.m. glass turns into a midnight death trap, our water, the elixir of life, the gentle stream of youth, the thing your doctor won't shut up about. And yet after 70, water has a twisted sense of humor. You see that innocent glass you sip before bed. It might as well come with a disclaimer. Warning may cause spontaneous urination disorientation and unexpected hip fractures. Here's what happens. You drink a tall glass of water at 9 p.m. because you read somewhere that hydration is key to longevity. Noble goal. But then, 3 hours later, you're staggering down a dark hallway with one eye open, blood pressure, low bladder full, and dignity hanging by a thread. And just when you reach the toilet boom, gravity reminds you you're not 30 anymore. Welcome to the bathroom gauntlet, where every step is a balance challenge and every rug is a potential obituary headline. Now let's get Buddhist for a second. The teachings remind us too much of even a good thing becomes suffering. Water is sacred, but timing is wisdom. And at night, you must choose inner peace or inner flood. Physiologically, your bladder weakens with age. Your kidneys still do their job at night, but the storage tank, aka your bladder, is less Olympic swimming pool and more leaky bucket, so your body wakes you up. Again and again. And eventually your sleep turns into a series of bathroom pit stops and existential despair. So what's the fix? Hydrate during the day, like it's your job. Then after dinner, wind it down. Avoid caffeine, alcohol, and green tea in the evening unless you enjoy cardio at 2 a.m. If you get thirsty near bedtime, take tiny sips, not gulps. And make your nighttime path safer than a Zen garden, nightlights, non-slip mats, and grab bars. Because enlightenment is great, but so is not dying in a hallway with your pants down. Remember, water gives life. But after 70, it also gives bruises, ER bills, and some awkward family conversations. Part 5. The Supper of Death. Why your stomach is plotting against your heart after 9 p.m. Dinner. That sacred nightly ritual where spaghetti becomes therapy and dessert becomes a religion. But if you're over 70 and your idea of a bedtime snack involves a fork, a microwave, and something that ends in a loo, I've got bad news. Your stomach might be working for the Grim Reaper. Here's the biology. As we age, our metabolism slows to a pace that would make a snail look like an Olympian. Your digestive system, once a roaring fire, is now more like a flickering candle trying to process a T-bone steak at midnight. And while you're dreaming about your childhood dog, your body is in full crisis mode, diverting blood from your brain to your gut, like there's a gastrointestinal emergency. And your heart, oh, it's pissed. I was supposed to be resting. It whispers, now I'm pumping overtime for this lasagna. Now let's get cosmic. In Buddhism, evening is a time of release, letting go of cravings, attachments, thoughts. Not time for second helpings of meatloaf and regret. Clinging to food at night is like clinging to life, desperate, confused, and usually gassy. Worse, heavy meals can trigger acid reflux, especially when you lie down. That burning in your throat. That's your food staging a revolution. And if it travels far enough, you might inhale it in your sleep. A peaceful night becomes a respiratory emergency with gravy on it. Not dramatic enough. Okay, late night eating also spikes blood sugar, elevates blood pressure, and increases your chance of a silent heart attack. The kind where you don't even wake up to say goodbye to your leftovers. Here's your strategy. Finish your last real meal 3 hours before bed. Opt for a light supper, steamed veggies, a bit of fish, something that doesn't require sauce or apology. If you must snack, go with yogurt nuts or half a banana, not the entire kitchen. Because dinner should nourish your body, not write your eulogy. Part 6. Snore and be no more, the sound of sleep. Apnea, sneaking you to the other side. You think snoring is just a little noise cute, like a bear cuddling with a leaf blower. But if you're over 70 and snoring loud enough to terrify your cat, it's not just noise, it's a warning signal from the underworld. Enter sleep apnea, a charming little condition where your breathing stops for just long enough that your brain panics, your heart races, and your soul briefly floats out the window to see if it should stay or go. You don't notice it, of course, you're asleep. But your body, it's doing full-blown crisis management every few minutes, fighting to breathe, regulating oxygen, restarting the engine like an old lawnmower in a thunderstorm. And what's the cost? Silent strokes, arrhythmias, heart failure, a morning that you simply don't wake up to. But hey, your spouse notices. Oh yes, they've memorized your apnea playlist. Loud snore, choke silence, gasp regret. From a Buddhist lens, breath is life's anchor, your tether to the present moment. If your breath is disrupted, your consciousness is too. There's a reason every meditation tradition begins with watching the breath. Without breath, awareness, you're not sleeping. You're rehearsing impermanence. So what should you do? First, get tested. Polysomnography. The sleep test isn't fun, but neither is dying mid-dream. If diagnosed, you may need a CPAP machine. Sure, it makes you look like Darth Vader's gentle cousin, but it keeps your airway open and you alive. Other tips: lose excess weight. Don't drink alcohol before bed. Avoid sleeping on your back. Remember part 2. Create a sleep sanctuary, free of stress and drama. Because if you're snoring like a chainsaw, don't be surprised when your body eventually pulls the plug, and you won't hear it coming. Part 7. TV exorcism. How sleeping with the news on destroys your brain and your dreams. Some folks fall asleep to the sound of gentle rain. Others prefer soft music or a white noise machine. And then there are those who think it's a good idea to fall asleep to back-to-back episodes of serial killer documentaries and political meltdowns. Let's be blunt. Your TV is performing a nightly exorcism on your nervous system, and you're calling it comfort. Now, this isn't about the light from the screen, although yes, that messes with your melatonin too. This is about the emotional pollution that pours into your half-sleeping brain while Anderson Cooper is explaining the latest global disaster. See, your brain doesn't fully shut down during sleep, especially not in the light stages. What it does is absorb. It takes in everything, tones, music explosions, angry voices, and starts organizing them into your subconscious archive. You think you're dreaming about dancing at your cousin's wedding, but in the background, a SWAT team just kicked in the door. From a Buddhist perspective, the last thoughts before sleep are sacred. They shape the quality of your dream state. They echo through the subtle body. Garbage in karma, out. Western psychology backs this up. Studies show that exposure to violent or negative media before bed increases anxiety, cortisol, and sleep fragmentation, which means the next day you're cranky, foggy, and somehow still mad at the evening news. What's the fix? Turn it off. All of it. At least 30 minutes before bed, shut down the screens and give your soul a break. Try reading something gentle, listening to ambient music, meditating, or doing a gratitude list. Talking to a loved one, preferably not about politics. Because the real danger isn't what's on the screen, it's what's getting past your filters when your mind is vulnerable. You're not falling asleep, you're being programmed. And unless you want tomorrow's mood to be written by a cable news producer, change the channel. Or better yet, unplug the TV and reclaim your peace. Part 8. Rise and fall. Why getting out of bed? Too fast is basically Russian roulette. After 70, you survived the night. Congratulations. You made it through the phone radiation, the reflux, the sleep apnea, and your own unresolved childhood trauma. Now, all you have to do is stand up. Easy, right, wrong. Because for seniors, getting out of bed too fast is the last booby trap in the nighttime death maze. 1 minute you're sitting up to pee the next floor, like a tree falling in a forest. But this tree probably hits the nightstand on the way down and fractures a hip. Let's talk about postural hypertension, a fancy term for your blood pressure dropped faster than your dignity. When you go from lying down to standing too quickly, your body doesn't adjust in time. Blood drains from your head, your vision blurs, and suddenly gravity wins. And at your age, a simple fall isn't a funny story. It's a hospital bracelet, a bedpan, and possibly a fast pass to reincarnation. From a Buddhist lens, rushing is a form of ignorance. The teachings remind us, move as if the earth were sacred, because it is, and so are your bones. So how do you avoid becoming a late-night cautionary tale? Here's your ritual. When you wake, don't spring up like a game show contestant. Sit up, breathe, wiggle your fingers and toes. Let your blood pressure catch up with your optimism. Then slowly rise like a monk preparing to fetch tea, not like someone escaping a burning building. Also install a nightlight. Use non-slip slippers. Clear the path to the bathroom like it's a runway, because frankly, your dignity doesn't bounce like it used to. Remember, falling at 75 isn't just embarrassing. It's expensive, painful, and often unforgiving. You survived the sleep traps. Don't trip on the finish line. So, you made it to the end. Alive. Awake. Hopefully not horizontal. Let's be real, most people treat bedtime like a background activity. brush teeth, check phone collapse. But after 70, sleep is no longer just rest. It's a nightly negotiation with nature. Every habit you bring into the dark becomes either a ritual of renewal or a quiet little self-sabotage. We've laughed, we've gasped, and maybe now you're side-eyeing your pillow like it's holding a grudge. But here's the good news. Most of the risks we talked about tonight, fixable, with awareness, with intention, with just a bit of spiritual sass. Buddhism teaches us that death is not the enemy, it's the mirror. It reflects our habits, our attachments, and our resistance to change. So if your nightly routine looks like a trap for your nervous system, it's time to redesign your rituals. Not out of fear, but out of reverence. Create a bedroom that feels like a temple, not a crime scene. Trade digital noise for silence. Trade resentment for breath. Trade speed for stillness. Because you deserve more than just to wake up tomorrow. You deserve to wake up clear-headed, light-hearted, and unbroken. So tonight, before you switch off the light, ask yourself, is this how a wise person prepares to die? Or how a tired person forgets to live? Choose wisely. Sleep deeply. Live fully. We'll see you in the morning if you follow the advice that is.